The day bison graced your village was the most important day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday.
Welcome to the Rated G for Gamers podcast, episode 371. Before we start the show, we want to thank all of our wonderful fans who have supported us. And if you want to show support for the Rated G network, you can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/RatedG. You can also find us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Threads at Rated G. And finally, please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. We appreciate all the love. I'm your host, Dave Rotino, and this is my co-host, Dan, the podcaster formerly known as Classic Robinson.
What's going on, man? You know, before you get into your thing, your spiel, I just want to let you know this is a historic episode. It is. Do you know why this is a historic episode? I know you don't know why.
Because this is the episode you realize that you're wrong about Super Mario World, although the game is very good, if not great. That Super Mario Bros. 3 is the greatest game of all time. Have you finally come around to that? Because this would be the episode to end all episodes, the show of shows, Dan. We'd have to shut it down after this. We couldn't get any better. Is that what you're going to tell me?
No, that would be more of a religious episode for Christians, because that would be the episode that hell actually froze over.
Oh.
Right?
Not your come to Jesus moment? It wouldn't go the other way? You've seen the light?
No. No. I've seen the darkness, so that's the case.
Oh, my God. There you go.
That was it. We're actually going to talk. That's a good tease, because we're actually going to talk about Super Mario World later on the show.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a historic episode, because at a 371 and a half episodes, because we did do a half episode, which was the first episode, and technically this really should be 374 because of that one year we did separate E3 episodes, right, for the first time. This is the first time in history I actually wore a Mets hat on the show.
Jay-Z would be very upset with you, Dan. Come on now.
He would be. But I know you guys usually know me as wearing my uniform, which is the black shirt with the Rated G logo that you can only see the rated on halfway. That is in the laundry. I had to rush back to do the show. I didn't want to change my shirt. And again, it's in the laundry anyway. And I needed a hat to, I needed a light hat because the lighting wise, it's, I have a white shirt on, and this is the only light hat I have, because everything I have is either black or Yankee dark blue. So don't get used to this look, but this is a historic episode. First time I wore a Mets hat.
It's looking good. I like it.
Probably the last time. I don't hate Mets. I don't hate the Mets. It's usually Mets fans I don't like because they hate the Yankees.
Well, right. They get a little get a little divided, right? They're all New York teams. You should kind of show some love, right? I don't hate the Jets, but I mean the Giants are my team. That's what I'm going to root for. So
that's true. Even though the Jets are going to be more compelling story-wise this season because they have Aaron Rodgers.
I don't think it's going to be that compelling, but we'll see.
Well, I think
that
entertaining. Entertaining.
Well, sure. Okay.
Entertaining.
Yeah.
He's entertaining. Put it that way. Entertaining. I think they're going to do just like Brett Favre did. They're going to start off strong, and then no, I don't know. Maybe to get in the playoffs, but I think they're going to start strong and then sort of tail off at the tail end of the season.
Yeah,
he is 39. I think he's 39. He'll be 40.
I thought he was over 40. Okay, all right. He's still got a little bit of juice in the tank. Maybe a couple more years. Yeah. Well, this isn't the football podcast, although we do love talking about it from time to time. Nor is this the baseball podcast. And it's also not the camping podcast, but I have to talk about it because I do it every year, Dan. My birthday is coming up on Thursday, and we decided the week before to do the little birthday weekend getaway. I know, try and drag Dan out every year. Dan doesn't like going camping. He doesn't want to die in the river, doesn't want to get eaten by a bear. I understand.
Listen, this is what we do. I'll go camping if you pick a hotel that's like right across the street from like the woods and the river.
This year, we did do a cabin. So we had four walls.
I know what I said. I specifically said of a hotel I know what I said. I did.
The best you're going to get is a quaint little inn, which are nice.
A bed and breakfast with other people there to get eaten first.
Yeah, exactly. You got a nice B&B.
Did you know? I just watched the video. I know we talked about it off camera. We didn't talk about it on camera, or mics, I should say. The 3 serial killer animals in like the world were like a tiger that was missing a tooth, so he couldn't hunt its real prey, so it killed humans because it was like, easier to kill humans because it didn't have its fangs.
Yeah.
A pride of lion. I don't know if that's what it's called, a pride of lions.
The group
in Africa. They were like killing. They just killed. They didn't even eat them. They just killing people. And it was like a jaguar that was like a killer jaguar, right? That would go into your house, into your cabin, wait for you to come in, and then kill you and then eat you.
Well, then I'm gonna.
That's why I want a hotel. I want a hotel. I don't want a cabin. Wait! Before you fill me in, and there was a fourth one that was in Japan. It was a killer bear that was coming in and killing everybody.
Okay. Well, besides the last one, I'm going to fill you in on some upstate nature knowledge. 3 out of the 4 of those animals do not exist in that ecosystem. And depending on what kind of bear it was, it may or may not exist in the upstate New York ecosystem. So,
how about this? I go camping with you in the winter where they're hibernating.
That'd be a little bit better. Also be like incredibly cold, and you wouldn't be able to go down the river, which is one of the funnest things. You tube down the river and get drunk.
Come on now. We can sled down the river.
I don't know if the ice is that thick. You may end up under the water. I have come in contact, speaking of bears, I have come in contact with bears on several occasions. One of the first times, they were pretty close to the camp. The big misconception with bears is that most species of bears don't care about you, they care about your food. And that's why they would come to the campground. They would try and get into the giant trash bin receptacle things, and they would try and lift the lid and get the food out and whatnot. That's all they really want. That's brown bear, black bear, more or less. Now, grizzly bear, that's a different story. Grizzly bears are very angry.
Well, first of all, a polar bear. First of all, did you watch? Not getting political, not getting religious. Even though we did have a joke about religion earlier in the show. Listen to the Joe Rogan podcast. You hear the story of like the people who got stranded in Antarctica, and it was a polar bear that was like jumping from iceberg to iceberg or something, right?
Sure.
And it was 5 of them, and when it got on the iceberg that they were on, it then turned into 4 of them.
Sure.
Because, polar bears only eat meat.
Sure. Thankfully,
and polar bears are the most dangerous, like biggest and dangerous animal in the world. Is like a polar bear.
Thankfully,
they look cute.
No polar bears. Oh, they do look very cute. Thankfully, there's no polar bears in upstate New York, so you're good. It's literally brown and maybe black bear up there, and every time we've encountered one, they've been completely nonchalant. They just kind of do their own thing, It's all
right. Cool. So. I don't know if you watched. On Netflix the cloning Tyrone.
I keep.
You should. It's funny.
I keep seeing that.
I wasn't going to watch it because it looked corny, but it was awesome. It was actually awesome.
Is it a comedy, a drama? Is it both? I don't even know what kind of movie.
It's a dramedy. It's a dramedy.
Okay.
I mean, Jamie Foxx is in it. This is hilarious. I can watch it again because it's like super hilarious. Just want you to know, as a black man, if I see a bear, I don't care what color it is. I don't care what nickname you give it. I'm going that way. I'm not chilling with that bear.
That's
I don't
fine.
care what it. I don't care what it wants. I don't care what it wants.
That's
I don't care what it wants.
You're not going to die, Dan.
I'm going to be in a hotel. I'm going to be in a hotel.
Be as cautious as you want. You're 99% chance you're not going to die. You're probably fine.
No, it's going to be 100% chance I'm not going to die. You know why? Because I'm not going to be there.
See,
100%.
I try, folks. I try and be all inclusive here, but I understand. Outdoors is not for everybody.
You can't even give it 1%.
Yeah, okay.
I won't be there.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
But I'm glad you have a great camping trip. While you were camping,
it was a good time, man. It was a good time. Weather held up. Yeah.
I was binge watching a bunch of shows. I got to see the last episode for Secret Invasion, which was the best episode because it actually had action in it, right?
Cool.
Not going to spoil anything for you because you still haven't watched it.
Nope.
But it was the best episode. This is one of those critics and fans have different opinions because critics hated it, fans loved it.
So there's definitely some fan service in there.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
Cool.
It's the first. I think the first episode sucked. I would give it, trash on a Dave scale, and it progressively got better until they got to the last episode, which I thought was fantastic.
Okay.
And it answered some questions of the whole MCU of certain things that we had during the season. I'm trying to be spoiler free on it.
I think I understand. Yeah. Cool.
Awesome show. They said it was, the critics say, they did Nick Fury wrong in the whole series. He finally got his thing, right?
And
they did wrong.
Okay.
I think out of the 6 episodes, he did great for 5.
Wow,
I still don't like the first episode. I'm sorry. I still don't like the first episode.
Okay. Well, yeah, they speaking of the MCU, they also just dropped Loki season 2 trailer, which looks bananas. Very excited for that. That's coming out in October. Oh, definitely worth. It's like a 2-minute thing, but
Guardians of the Galaxy comes out August 2nd, right? 3 on streaming on Disney. I can't wait to see that.
You still haven't seen that yet? Oh.
No, you know why? Because I could see it for free now in 2 days.
I mean,
2 days.
It's definitely not the best MCU movie, but it was highly entertaining. It was very good. I enjoyed it.
The Witcher the part 2, season 3, which was Henry Cavill's, last hurrah for, being Geralt. And it was awesome. I'm going to miss him. I hope they do something and he comes back. No offense to Thor's little brother. Because, that's
what he's going to be called. He's not going to be Liam Hemsworth. He's just Thor's little brother.
Thor's little brother.
You're doing him wrong already, Dan. He's got a name.
No offense. And guess what? That's a name I don't know. But he no offense to him. I'm sure he'll make a great Witcher. From everything I've read, he will be not a new Witcher. He will be Geralt.
Yeah.
And I just don't.
I figured.
I can't support that. I can't support that.
I figured.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry because the last 2 episodes of The Witcher with Henry doesn't tie anything up, right? You need season 4, but if it's not going to have Henry Cavill, then I just can't do it.
The reason I was pretty sure they wouldn't do that is that Geralt has so many adventures within the books. And I know they've already diverged a little bit from the books, but I'm sure they have. I'm sure the movie writers have already penned scripts and had ideas of like where they want this Witcher to go, the Henry Cavill Geralt to go. And I'm sure there's other stuff in the books that they could pull on to try and bring into in a way and put their own like television spin in it. But to have another Witcher come in and be, I am a completely different Witcher, and then be able to tie up Geralt's story without having Henry Cavill in there to bring in the new Witcher, and then you complicate.
I'm not gonna. Okay, so I'm not gonna get into spoilers for the last, because it's only 2 or 3 episodes. I thought it would be more, but it's only 2 or 3 episodes for part 2, which I hate to do that.
I know, it's terrible.
There's a way they could have did it where listen, girl, you look different right now, right? You look
right.
Different.
Just put a little aside in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we tried to reconstruct. We tried to reconstruct you. Then we tried to reconstruct you, and it didn't go well. So now you look different.
Right.
I wouldn't accept it, but that would make sense. But they didn't do it that way, so he's just gonna look different.
Okay.
He's just gonna look different.
Yeah, it is what it is.
So. But here's what I'm gonna tell you something. You're gonna be surprised.
Ooh.
I watched the whole season. The whole season's 10 episodes of Twisted Metal. And
you're right. I'm surprised. I did not realize it was out. It's true.
I didn't like the trailer. I didn't like the trailer.
I know. Yeah.
I know. You go camping for one weekend and everything comes out. I didn't like the trailer. I didn't like the trailer. This series was fucking awesome.
It's good.
It was awesome. And they set it up for season 2. It was pure comedy. It was pure over the top.
Okay.
Pure comedy, pure over the top. Samoa Joe did a great job. He did a great job.
Right.
He did a great job.
All right. They made it work.
Yeah, I know there was somebody else voicing Sweet Tooth. There was somebody else voicing Sweet Tooth.
Will Arnett from Arrested Development and other things.
But he did an amazing job. They got the season 2. They set it up for like the actual Twisted Metal battle, right?
Mm-hmm. Like the world tour, yeah, the big competition, yeah.
They set it up that way. It wasn't what I was expecting.
Okay,
and I was wrong about Twisted Metal. I don't really plug things on the show, but if you got, I don't know how much it costs. It cost me $2 a month, but if you got $1.99, get Peacock. Watch Twisted Metal. Because it's awesome. Wow, it is awesome. From start to finish. It is awesome. It is pure comedy, and I just can't not call him Falcon because he's Falcon to me. Mm-hmm. Like he will always be Falcon.
Yeah.
Anthony Mackie does a fantastic job. The comedy in this is awesome. It is a comedy. It's a comedy.
Sure.
Complete comedy.
On the Dave scale, it's fantastic.
Don't even think about it. No, don't have to think about it.
There it is. I'm in.
I watched the first 2 episodes, and I thought maybe I would just watch those 2, and then this is whack. Mm-hmm. I ended up staying up all night watching the whole season.
Okay, how many episodes? 10?
And 10 episodes. 10 episodes. Yeah. Well, I mean, okay, I didn't stay up the whole night. I watched like 6, 7, and then I woke up the next morning and I watched the rest of it.
Okay.
So
cool. Fantastic.
I can't wait for season 2. He has a banger on him right now.
Mm-hmm.
But Dave, we have an awesome show this week.
Mm-hmm.
Coming up, we're going to talk about Microsoft banning some Xbox gamers.
Ooh, spicy.
I know. I was surprised when I read this story. Also, Ubisoft cancels a sequel of a game of a popular game, surprisingly popular game. Funny enough. Before we get into any of that, let's begin the show with notable games coming out. I'm going to say this month because when this episode comes out, it would be this month. Yes. We missed it last week. And as always, all game release dates come from Game Informer video game release date list. So I'm not going to say if I missed anything because I'm picking and choosing because a lot of games
There's
come out.
A lot of games coming out.
Yeah. But if this particular game actually doesn't come out or isn't coming out this month, don't blame me. Blame Game Informer because that's where I pull all my information from. So we're going to start the month off August 3rd. PC baby. Dave loves PC. He's mostly a PC gamer.
My birthday baby.
Well, you know what? This is your birthday game. Baldur's Gate 3.
There it is. Yep. Now, for the many astute of you may know that you can play and have been able to play Baldur's Gate for a while because it's been in early access for a while. So you were able to kind of mess around and all that. Is obviously not the complete game. Now is the official release of it on August 3rd. Very awesome. I'm excited. The last Baldur's Gate game was, I guess technically Icewind Dale was in that universe. It was essentially Baldur's Gate, just way up north in the kind of D&D lands, whatever, the Sword Coast or whatever it is. So, and that was like 2001, 2002. So it's literally been like 22 years since the last Baldur's Gate game. And apparently fans are loving it so far. I think it's going to do well. I don't know if it's going to make any Game of the Year list because it's a very contentious year, but I don't know. It's awesome. And only on PC. Interesting choice.
Only on PC. Well, you know, if that's wrong, blame Game Informer.
Well, I feel like it'll eventually come to consoles. They'll make a console version for this stuff. Yeah.
Okay. All coming out next episode when the next episode comes out, which is August 8th. Russell Quest coming out PS3, PS5, not PS3, PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Next episode, we may have a special guest.
Oh, I think
I
think we're gonna special.
Well, we're gonna try to have. We're gonna try to have a special returning guest next week for the launch of Russell Quest.
Oh, yeah.
So stay tuned to next week. But Russell Quest, a game highly touted this year. Delayed. I think like 3 months. It was supposed to come out in May, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So
yes.
we should have a review out on the website, or at least talk about it in the next couple episodes.
I can't talk about any of the specifics. I am under NDA, but we're gonna have an extensive review of WrestleQuest, and
at some point.
Yeah, I don't know what I can and can't say about it, so I'm just gonna stay mumming it. But stay tuned. We're gonna have more coverage. I'll say that.
No more time. One of our game of the shows of PAX East 2023, 30XX, coming out on the Switch and PC August 9th, the day after WrestleQuest comes out.
Very excited for this game. This is the Mega Man roguelike game. 20XDX was the first one that came out. This is bigger and better. You now have expanded co-op, a lot more weapons, a lot more stage variety, a lot more bosses, a lot more monsters, more of everything. An expanded or a new level editor. Yeah, super hype.
Oh, that's true.
Super hype.
Then we got coming out August 18th, Madden NFL 24, coming out PS4, Xbox Series X, PS5, Xbox One, and PC.
Can we not call this game of the year? Can we not call this game of the year?
I don't think Madden has
Madden 24
game of the year contention. I don't think Madden has been in game of the year contention since the 90s.
I don't think ever. Not to say that it's not a good franchise and it's not fun, but it's just, how do you, what makes 24 better than 23, better than 22, better than 21? It's always a football game. It's always very similar.
I know.
So wild.
And then we got the Texas Chainsaw Massacre coming out for PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X, Xbox One, and PC the same day, August 18th.
Yep. It's a big note for me. It's got chainsaw in the title. I'm out.
I know. Well, also, this game won't have bots or offline mode, so you have to play it online, and you have to play it with people.
Right.
So, unlike Friday the 13th, right, where you could play with bots, you can't do that in this game.
Mm-hmm. Missed opportunity.
Another game that was, one of our game of the shows of PAX 2023, Fort Stylus is coming out for PS5, PC, and Mac, August 22nd.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
Definitely want to look at this. This is sort of like I want to say survival horror, because it was no survival. We didn't even see an enemy in this one. This was sort of like
even think there's any combat there. So it's like a horror mystery adventure.
Horror mystery adventure. I like that. It's a new genre that we're gonna
little kind of, you're stranded on some space station, got to figure out the mystery. I'm excited, man. It was definitely, I think I may have given it my game of the show, it was definitely very high on my list. Yeah. Oh, I love the demo. Yeah.
Coming out the same day, something that's high on a lot of people's list. That's Immortals of Avium, coming out for PS5, Xbox Series X, and PC. It's a current generation game, not coming out to last generation. So that's it. I'm not gonna lie, it gives me Forsaken vibes, Forsaken meets Harry Potter, right?
Yes,
because it's all about magic.
Yep.
But I'm gonna hold out. This is one of those I'm gonna hold out to see if the critics like it type of thing, because I'm not high on it. I've only seen critics being high on it. I haven't seen a lot of non-critics high on this game,
right
so far.
And it's also a new property. It's untested. We don't necessarily know much about kind of the world and everything, right? So
I'm not gonna. I don't really go on critic reviews as a sense of, will I buy? I like to buy everything because I want to sort of have everything,
of course,
in general. But for a game that's going to be $70,
you may want to wait for the holiday sale.
I may want to wait for a discount if the critics say, this game is sort of not that great. But if they say it's great, if it could be a hidden gem, a Metal Jesus hidden gem 5 years from now, right, for this generation, then if the critics say it's really good, then maybe I will spend the $70 for it.
Right.
After that, then we got Blasphemous 2 coming out for this generation, PS5, Xbox Series X, Switch, PC. No Stadia. I had to say it one last time. Coming out August 24th. Then we got Armored Core. The new Armored Core game, right? This is the 6th version,
baby.
right? Armored Core 6.
Well, it's called Armored Core 6. There were a few non-numbered ones like Armored Core Nexus. So it may be like the 8th or ninth one in the series, but of the mainline ones, I guess you could say, yeah, it's
this is the 6th, yeah. It's coming out for PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X, S1, and PC August 25th. Mm-hmm. Then we got Goodbye Volcano High. Everybody's really high on this game. It's PS5, PS4, PC August 29th.
I see what
Samba de Amigo. Samba de Amigo Party Central coming out for the Switch August 29th. And a bunch of indie games that people are really looking forward to, and that's Sea of Thieves, and that's coming out for PS5,
Sea of
Xbox
Stars,
Series X, or Sea of Stars. Sorry, I had
Sea of Thieves is a completely different game. Yeah, I mean, I've talked about
Sea of Stars.
I've talked
and
about
you did support it on
hell yeah, I did.
Kickstarter.
Hell yeah, I did. I got a whole big thing coming. I got the vinyl soundtrack coming. I got my name in the credits. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, but I'm just PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X, S1, Switch, and PC. No Stadia.
Wild.
No Luna. August 29th, and also Under the Waves coming out for PS5, PS4, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, S, and PC same day. Mm-hmm. So those are the notable games coming out this month. The biggest one out of all of them, I gotta say, it has to be between Russell Quest, Armored Core 6, and Goodbye Volcano High, because people have been talking about Goodbye Volcano High for a long time.
And, Sea of Stars, Sea of Stars, man. Don't sleep on that game. It's going to be great. It is literally the spiritual successor to Chrono Trigger. And
well, Under the Waves, we seen that at one of those E3 showcases.
Yep.
And I said, this looks awesome too. Right, like when we first saw Russell Quest, before we even knew Patrick was involved, right? We saw it. I don't remember if we saw it on. I think it was a Nintendo. Was it like a Nintendo Direct that we saw it? We first saw it, or was
it may have been? Yeah, I think it. I think it was the Nintendo Direct. Yeah.
When we first saw that, we said, "This right here is the sleeper hit. Is a sleeper hit." People.
Yep.
So I think Under the Waves is one of those.
How has that not happened yet?
But now I think it's up there, right? Like people are anticipating it, and I think between May and August, between like the end of spring and sort of toward the tail end of summer, the best time to do it before the fall, do it before September, before we get like the big games, Call of Duty, Spider-Man,
Starfield,
do it before you get time to really play it. 30XX, right? Like that's also, was one of my games of the show of definitely PAX 2023.
Oh yeah.
But Goodbye Volcano High, I've heard a lot about this, and I've seen a lot about it. This is highly, I think this could be like a sleeper hit, even just for the summer, for this year. You're right. This year could be one of the biggest years in gaming.
Already, I think it is. I think we'll see. We'll see how it pans out at the end. Yeah.
All right, Dave. We don't go over, the new games that are coming out for Xbox Live, PlayStation Plus, or Nintendo Switch Online service, even though that's going to change because there will be no, Xbox Live would go with 2 free games coming out every year, starting in September.
And every month. Yeah.
But I do want to say on Nintendo Online service, we got The Legend of Zelda Oracles of Ages and The Legend of Zelda Oracles of Season.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
2 fantastic games made by Capcom, by the way, for the Game Boy Color.
I did Oracle of Ages for Saturday Morning Retro. You should go back and listen to my thoughts on that. Because these games are bangers, right? And made by Capcom, right? Nintendo had them do it, as well as the Minish Cap. Capcom also had a hand in the Minish Cap as well. And it shows, because the games are awesome. And they are very much Zelda games. And they are lovely portable games that you can now play on your Switch. So they are awesome. Check those out.
Yeah, so they're available now. Definitely check those out. And then we got Double Dragon. We're getting a collection. This came out of nowhere. I thought this was going to be, it just should have been like a limited run thing. I guess it's not a limited run thing because it's coming out like on all the platforms. Coming out November 9th. we got Super Double Dragon, Double Dragon Advance, the original Double Dragon 2, the Revenge, Double Dragon 3, the Sacrifice of Stones,
The Sacred Stones. Yeah.
Sacred Stones, and Double Dragon 4.
Yeah.
In the collection. Obviously, I'm going to get this on the Switch when it comes out, but it's coming out on all modern consoles. So if you're a big Double Dragon fan or retro fan, you got to pick this up.
It's a pretty good collection. Now it looks like one of these is the arcade version, and all of the other ones are either the Nintendo home console, the Super Nintendo home console, or Double Dragon 4, which was just on, I guess, modern consoles of the time. But I think it looks like. Oh, I guess this is Double Dragon Advance. Oh, maybe that's the one that kind of looks kind of. Yeah, that's based off the arcade version. So, but it's a solid mix. I love it. It's funny.
There's no Double Dragon Genesis on here. No, the Genesis version.
The Genesis version was the arcade version of 3, which was they called it the Rosetta Stones. I think they made it a little bit different. Yeah. It was weird, and that was the one. That was arguably the first game to have microtransactions, because literally the original arcade game, when you put your quarters into play, there was a shop right at the beginning, and you walk in the door, and it's like, hey, do you want all these power-ups? Pay me 75 cents. Pay the machine 75 cents to upgrade. And it was hated so much that for the I think the Japanese release of it, they took out the shops like that, which is crazy. It's insane. But like the first instance of a microtransaction. There you go.
I could have sworn Double Dragon for the Sega Master System was better than the Genesis version. It was just too small. I mean, not small. I mean slow. Like it was
yeah.
Super buggy, super slow.
Right. Yeah. It's wild. You should if you want to know more about the history of Double Dragon, Matt McMuscles played every single Double Dragon game and every version of every Double Dragon game. The ones that came out on the Amstrad, the Amiga, the Commodore, Nintendo, Genesis, Master System. He played them all, and it's wild. It's wild how different every single game is. Because whoever owned the rights to it, I guess like Technos made it, but they were real keen on like just making a lot of money off the property, so they would license out to anybody. So the quality control was like all over the place. So every single game is like wildly different. And, even ones with like the same name, the Sacred Stones, the Rosetta Stones. The Nintendo version is wildly different than the arcade version. So all the Nintendo games are wildly different than the arcade versions.
Did Double Dragon? I don't know if they did they come out with the second one on the Genesis. I feel like there was one that was missing from the Genesis.
I don't know if the first one came out. I think it was just 2 and 3.
I think it was no. I think it was 1 and 3.
Or maybe it was even 1 and 3. Yeah.
I think the first one came out. I think the second one didn't come out on the Genesis.
Right.
Yeah. There's a fourth one that came out on all the consoles.
And those are like the Genesis ones are more like the arcade version. They're really? More accurate depiction of the arcade version.
I just thought it was like slow. I thought it was slower. I thought it was a little bit slower.
Yeah.
Than the Nintendo version. Okay.
Right.
Dave, as we always try to start the show, but epically fat. Mm-hmm. And I know it's not been Double Dragon, but what have you been playing?
You don't know that, Dan. You don't know that.
I know it's not Double Dragon.
I've been playing absolutely nothing because I was on vacation and I was up in the woods where.
You didn't take the Switch with you camping? You didn't have like sit down with the grizzly bear and have him like look at the Switch and play the Switch too?
I didn't have any time to play Zelda, Dan, because that's what I would have taken with me. That's what I would have been playing. Didn't have any time.
Have you not beaten Tears of the Kingdom yet? Did you not beat Ganon or whoever the bad guy is?
Dan. I'm prolonging the magic. Okay. I am currently trying to get all of the light roots in the underground, which when you get down to those final few makes it real tough. Because there's some little areas that are like that big, And I'm actually over exaggerating how big it is. It's actually more like that big.
That big.
It's literally, there's literally like a tiny little patch. And you have to zoom in all the way, scan the whole entire map, figure out where it is. It's silly. It's silly. I don't know why they did that. But anyway, what have you been playing, Dan?
I've been playing Disney's Illusion Island, which is a Metroidvania game with the Disney Mickey Mouse and Daffy Duck and Goofy, right? And like you play as those, but you have no offense, so you can't like stomp on or jump on enemies. You have to jump over them.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
And you have to go and keep traversing because there's certain areas you can't get to. So you're going as far as you can go to get the power up to go back to the other areas so you can jump higher or climb higher or whatever. Right. So it's a Metroidvania game with the Disney crew on it, but there's no offense at all.
So you can't attack any enemies.
So far in the beginning of the game. Oh. Yeah, you can't attack any enemies. You have to jump over them. You have to avoid them.
Wow. All right. That's interesting. Okay.
So
cool.
I've been playing a little bit of that new Double Dragon game that came out recently.
Double Dragon Gaiden. Yeah.
Double Dragon Gaiden. It's more of a beat 'em up roguelike, I was told.
A little bit.
How much I hate roguelikes, but I've only beaten the first boss, so I can't really talk about the game as far as how much I like it or not. Okay. But I did get it, and I beat the first boss, and I was like, this is okay. This is cool. This isn't like mind blowing or anything. Like it makes me want to play any of the other Double Dragon games. But if you bought it, I definitely would play multiplayer with it because beat 'em ups are better with
of course
multiplayer.
Of course, I want to wait because the physical's not out yet, right? But they did say
I have the physical.
Oh, you do?
No, I have the physical. It's not a limited run type of thing. You can just buy it at Best Buy or Amazon. I got it.
I have to get it. Because I love a good Double Dragon beat 'em up game. I mean,
yeah, it's a Double Dragon with slight RPG elements because you can upgrade your character and roguelike, which I haven't gotten to yet.
Okay, cool.
So, on that note, why don't we take a break? We come back. We're getting to the top gaming news of last week.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, Dave, let's get into the top gaming news of last week. Let's start with Xbox issuing bans to some Xbox gamers. And this is more so something that you have to explain to me because I'm not really involved and know a lot about the emulating market, right? Like I play games natively how they were originally, on original hardware and stuff. I don't
try
really
as much as possible to do that. Yeah.
So I'm going to go through the stuff, and maybe you can explain this to me. So the retail mode on the Xbox Series S is dead, apparently. Basically, 15-day suspensions handed out to users of retail emulators as of a warning shot from Microsoft. Devs warning users to delete the emulators off the Xbox Series S's. Retail mode team disbanding and shutting down its Patreon. This is something that I'm not really big into, and when I saw this was, I saw a lot of videos like Review Tech USA made a video about this, and sort of like, as a negative light towards Microsoft and Xbox regarding this. Like, I'm not big on emulators. I don't know. I haven't emulated anything, to be honest. I can't name a game. I mean, I don't know we have the Retron 5, I guess but I'm using the original cartridges in that sense. So I know it's more of like a ROM dump, or so to speak. I don't know exactly how that works, but I'm still, no matter what, I'm still using the original hardware. It's not like I'm playing Little Samson on my PC, but I don't own Little Samson in real life.
Technically, you've emulated tons of games because a lot of the ports, a lot of the ports and a lot of the remakes and the whatever else, a lot of them are just emulators running within a shell that works on a modern console. So all of the stuff on the Nintendo Switch Online service is emulation. Now it's handled by Nintendo and the whatever else, but honestly, there's a good chance that behind the scenes they're using a PC style emulator, like maybe a SNEX 9X or maybe a ZNES or whatever else. They kind of work with one of these companies to license it, or they kind of found a way to like reverse engineer it and put something together. So in a way, yes, but I hear what you're saying. The kind of general sense of emulation is you're taking a particular console, and this is all like software style emulation. So somebody will make a program. Like most famously, maybe the Nesticle was like one of the first ones, which was the NES emulator. That was like a big thing for a while, and everyone started emulating NES games. But it was a software program that was emulating the hardware of the Nintendo. And obviously, there's always issues with that. There's speed issues and whatnot, because now you've got the software, which is running on a computer, which then needs to be translated into like machine code, and there's so many different steps. And then you have the games, right? And did you emulate all the stuff for the games, right? So you get a lot of you'll get a lot of weird glitches and artifacts, right? When you talk about Super Nintendo and all the different games, like Mega Man used a weird chip, the SA1 chip, and the Super FX chip, right? A lot of those things are kind of hard to emulate, and some emulators can't even do it. Sometimes they get patched in like down the line. Things have progressed and gotten really good. Now we have like hardware emulators where you can program a computer chip. That's what they call like a field programmable gate array, an FPGA. A lot of the really good clone consoles, I guess, like the analog consoles, Analog NT and all that, those are all using hardware emulation, which is almost indistinguishable from the actual hardware itself. So it's a lot more closer to the actual NES experience. And then they add in all this other stuff to quality of life improvements and whatever else, and save states, and bumping up the amount of sprites you can have on screen and whatever else, giving you scaling options to make the pixels look even that crisper. There's a lot of things you can do. As far as I understand it, the consoles, the Xbox consoles, PlayStations, or whatever else, have been using software emulation. People will either port the emulators or make custom emulators for those consoles. This goes all the way back to the PS2 and Xbox. But apparently, the Xbox as we know it, the Xbox Series, I believe, has been emulation almost since the get-go. And there's two different modes that your console can be in. The retail mode, which I believe is the standard mode that all consoles come in, which is like the retail consumer mode or whatever, and the developer mode, which is pretty self-explanatory. Gives you a lot of features for you to play test, bug test, beta test, whatever your game, and you get all this other stuff that you can unlock in developer mode. It runs a little bit differently, right? And I believe that originally they got it to work in developer mode, and then they were able to get it to work in retail mode, which is a lot less of a hassle because there's a little bit of work to get it in developer mode, and some things don't work when it's in developer mode. It's kind of whatever. Long story short, people are emulating, let's say, PlayStation 2 on their Xbox because it's cool, because they want to like try these games out, they want to play them, whatever, right? From a business stance, Microsoft is going to say no. Sony's going to say no, you can't do this, whatever. A, because you're breaking their like kind of terms of service, the whatever else. You're not really supposed to crack the hardware, the OS, the whatever, and do all the stuff to it. That's not really part of the end user license agreement. Although you can kind of make an argument, hey, it's my hardware that I bought. Why can't I do what I want with it? I'm not hurting anybody necessarily, but that's a whole nother conversation. But from a business standpoint, Microsoft would say, well, what if you start emulating Xbox games, or Xbox 360 games, or Xbox One games? Or if it gets good enough, what if I'm able to like get ROMs and ISOs for Xbox Series games? Now you're legitimately cutting into profits of games that are on the retail market now. Games that you should be buying, games that people will put very hard work into that they are selling.
You're affecting Xbox's bottom line.
Right,
basically.
exactly. So you can see why they would be cracking down and whatnot. So Xbox has found a way, because 99% of the Xbox consoles are online, so they're connected to the outside world, and some information is being sent to Microsoft about your hardware diagnostics and your network traffic and whatever else. They're able to figure out whether or not you have these retail emulators running on your console, and thus issuing bans. So it may be that a way around it is to never connect it to the internet, which is what a lot of people did with their 360s, because they also banned a lot of Xbox Live accounts during the 360 era if they found out that your hard drive was modified in such a way, right? Because you could be using that for cheating or whatever else. They don't know. They're just going to blanket ban you. So I get it. You have to be very careful about that. It took them a while to get there with this current generation, but that's kind of where we're at.
Got it.
Yeah.
I'm not a bit. I assumed backwards compatibility, right? Like that's emulating.
That's emulation,
like with
right.
Xbox
To a degree,
right?
yeah,
Okay.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Well, okay. I guess I'm more of speaking like emulation, not from the company themselves.
Well, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody's doing it illegally, right? They're taking a ROM, because like with what Xbox is doing, you still have to either own the game proper, and then you'll get a digital version of it downloaded to your console, or you have to buy the physical disc, or buy it digitally.
Yes.
And buy a digital version and then play it that way. So that's all legal, right? Microsoft has worked out all the stuff for it. If it's first party, Microsoft will just sell it to you for whatever. Microsoft gets the profit, so it's fine.
Well, what do you think about emulation in general?
I love it.
Do you think people should be able? Do you think people? Oh, well, yeah, because you get to play the game for free. But do you think people should be able to have emulators to play games from the past itself? Right.
More than that,
or like Little Samson. We use Little Samson all the time as an example because it's one of the most expensive NES games. But do you think people should be able to use an emulator? I don't even know who developed Little Samson. I can't even remember.
Knacksoft maybe, or Taxan.
So what if they said no?
Namco maybe? I don't know. I don't know.
All right, whatever. Even I thought it was Sunsoft, but let's say whatever that company
actually,
is.
I think it actually was Sunsoft. I think you may be right. Yeah.
They want that game. They said they want that game to be stuck on NES. You want to play it, buy the NES version. And we don't want to play the NES version anywhere else.
You want, as a gamer, I think you would want everybody to be able to enjoy any game. That's the idea, right? You don't want to gatekeep. You don't want to hide things. You don't want to denigrate somebody for playing it on inferior hardware or whatever. Like maybe they got like a Retron 5 or whatever, but they have the actual game. Like play the game how you want to play the game, whatever. Like I think that's like super cool. And if a company's going to say, "Hey, we don't want to release it on any other because we don't think it's going to be lucrative, or we don't want to put the time or the money in there and the whatnot," they are in a way gatekeeping, right? Why can't they say, if we're not going to do anything with this IP, why not make it free and open source so that people can do it? Most famously with Doom, id Software and everybody involved in that game decided to open source Doom after a long enough period of time. I want to say like in the early 2000s. And we are so much better off for it because now we have things like GZ Doom and Brutal Doom. And people have taken Doom to a whole nother level by like adding in like actual mouse look and making it like actual 3D, and making all these cool mods for it.
Have fun with this is a new place you can play Doom on your Xerox machine at work.
Right, exactly. And that wouldn't have happened, or at least it would have been a lot harder and took a lot longer without id Software saying, you know what, this code is now open source. We're good. And you know what? They have re-released it again and again, and people still have bought that version because some people don't want to deal with emulation. So I think there's room for both. So if somebody's not going to re-release it, or if somebody's not going to try and re-release it for modern consoles, make it available fairly easily. Let's say there's a mobile port, let's say there's a Switch port or whatever. That is cool because that gives you an option. You can pay money. Okay, I want to support this. I want to get this game. I want to have enjoyment out of it. I want to support the efforts that they're doing to port it to the new system. I think that's great. But there's a lot. There's like 90% of that stuff gets left on the console that it's on. It's just locked to it. So that is awesome. And then the other thing I think that's awesome too is when people do homebrews, ROM hacks, like the randomizers. I love the Zelda randomizers. I love the Metroid randomizers. I love the Link to the Past and Super Metroid randomizer that's in one game. Wild. Mm-hmm. And you can't get that without emulation. Nintendo's never going to do that. The best Nintendo's going to do is re-release Super Metroid for you and charge you, whatever it is for it. So we get all these like cool new experiences, and it's not that I think a lot of people are trying to be malicious and circumvent these big companies from.
But there are some, to be fair, there are some that are trying to be malicious, that are trying to circumvent these companies.
Well, I don't know if malicious is the right word, but they don't want to pay the retail price. So they're like, hey, we're gonna emulate it or whatever. Here you go, right? But then by that same token, like, what about like Little Samson? Little Samson has an exorbitant price. The only way to play it is on the NES. It's at least $1,000 for a very shitty, beat-up copy of Little Samson to be able to play that game. It's only fair that there should be a low-cost or free some way to play that game.
Price has gone up $3,000.
Yeah, well, there you go. For like a decent copy of that, no one's going to be able to play that game unless we have emulation. So, I think it's okay. And you know what? In that case, nobody is the company who made it, Sunsoft, isn't losing out on money. Well, because I don't think Sunsoft is necessarily around as a game publisher anymore or game developer, but they're not. It's not out there to buy. So who is losing money? It's all secondhand market. It's all just like people selling their copies around on like eBay. So,
okay,
I don't know. I didn't necessarily want to make a case for emulation like that, but I think there's a lot of good benefits to it.
Well, we are going to the Long Island Retro Gaming Expo this year. Together.
Nothing but.
Dave.
It's going to be the first time, baby. It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
First time we've gone together since the show, since the inception of the show. And I'm not going to lie, if I see Little Samson there and it's like $1,200, I may buy it. If it's less than $1,500.
Okay, folks, here we go. Dan will be returning with a copy of Little Samson by, I guess, probably like 2 to 3 episodes from now. You will see it'll be on his pickups list. I guarantee it.
It would be, but it won't be the holy grail of my collection because I still have Panzer Dragoon Saga complete in pristine condition, and that will always be. Right there, unless I get Little Samson in the box, but I don't think I'll get that because that right there is like $3,000.
Yeah, we'll see.
Dave, not a lot of news, not a lot of big news this week, but we do have some, acquisitions that aren't from Microsoft and Activision Blizzard. Capcom actually recently just took one of their support studios and made them in-house. They brought them and put them in-house. Cool. You may have not heard of this studio, right? I'm not making it into the story itself, but they did bring that in, like a studio that helped with Monster Hunter games and Street Fighter 6. They brought them in-house, so they bought them. And also now Dying Light developer has been acquired by Tencent, right? And this, I actually got this from IGN. Dying Light dev Techland has been acquired by Tencent for undisclosed amount. I couldn't find the amount that they bought, but Tencent's buying up a lot. They are partial owners of Ubisoft, and they did make a big acquisition with the Sackboy Big Adventure developer Sumo Group, which they bought for like $1.27 billion. Wow. Right? Like, that's crazy.
They are becoming the new Embracer Group.
They are.
Honestly, even before the acquisitions, I think they may, because they're a Chinese-based company.
They own a lot. They own like partial, like half of Epic.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like more than
yes.
30%
and I think they have I think they're like Genshin Impact or something else. They have some big like mobile properties or whatnot, which is crazy. But they are a huge company. But in terms of like number of properties and studios and whatever, they are they are becoming like the Embracer Group. So that's why
they are.
Yeah. Got another big third-party player in the mix.
Speaking of Ubisoft has now canceled a popular game, a sequel to a popular game, and that is Immortals Phoenix Rising. There was a sequel in the works.
Was that a popular game? I don't know if that really
it was. People, no, it was growing in popularity. It was sort of like Ubisoft's Zelda game, right? And I played it and I thought it was great. I have it. I actually do own it. I do own it on the Switch and I own it on the Xbox. And I thought that game was superb. I got stuck at a puzzle. I couldn't figure it out. And I would love to go back and try to figure it out, but it was like Zelda meets Kid Icarus, right? Because I felt like I was like Kid Icarus in the Zelda world.
Right. Yeah, because it was all like mythology and all that. Yeah.
And it was a sleeper hit, and it got good reviews.
I was just looking up the Metacritic, high 70s, low 80s. Yeah, better than I thought.
Yeah. And they were working on a sequel, but they canceled that sequel to use those guys to, work on more Assassin's Creed games and games that are actually, unreleased right now. But I think that's a detriment because I think this could have been their Zelda, right? Like if they didn't cancel it and they put more work into the story elements of this game. I'm not saying. Here's my thing with Ubisoft. I love Ubisoft. Like they especially back in the 7th, 8th generation, like during the PS2, GameCube, Xbox era, they did a lot of experimenting, putting out games. I don't want them to put out.
Great, yeah.
Splinter Cell series is great. We know there's a new Splinter Cell on the way. I don't want them to put out another Immortals Phoenix Rising. That's better than the first. I mean, I do want them to put it out, but then they're going to annualize it, right? Like that's what they do. Like they find something and they annualize it. And I don't want them to do that. I want them to put it out and then say, 3-4 years from now, we're going to put out an even better one, the third one, in 2030.
I think they've backed off from that because they specifically stopped doing the annual Assassin's Creed because sales numbers were dipping recently, a little bit,
But that's recently.
That was since like Syndicate, since like the.
I know. I'm saying that's recently in a sense of we know we're going to get the new one coming out this year. Are we not going to get another one next year?
No, we're not.
Let's wait.
Well, let's wait
and see. Because they have like 5 in development.
Well,
there's 5 in development.
Well, right, but they're all like different adventures, and we knew they were all kind of coming out. I think that's going to sit for a little while. They're going to probably update the more microtransaction-y, mobile-y style ones, obviously, with a bunch of stuff. They'll still support those for a while. I don't think we're going to see another mainline Assassin's Creed game for at least 2 years. So not next year, but the year after, maybe.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. No, I really do. But it is sucked because Immortal Phoenix Risings could have been something even more if they put more into the story element to make me really care about the characters, right? Like if they put more. The game itself is great. I think it's great. I'm gonna say great. If you like Zelda is great. It has its quirks and it has its it's like Zelda Tears of the Kingdom has its quirks and it has its issues, right?
Sure.
But the story itself brings you into it, and if they put more into the story elements for Immortals Phoenix Rising, even though it was called something else. I think it was God and Monster, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong about that. I think it was God and Monsters. But Monster Energy Drink sued them or something like that, and they changed the name
yeah. I kind of remember that.
If you put more into the story and make me care about the character, the gameplay itself is enough to really bring me into it. And I think it had something right there. And to cancel it, I think is a detriment to them long term, and I hope they bring it back. I hope they do bring it back because I mean they got a lot of games in development that they've canceled, right? Like we're just now getting, we're now getting a new Assassin's Creed game, even though they finally stopped annualizing it. We know we're getting a new Rainbow Six game. We know we're getting a new Splinter Cell game, even though we haven't seen anything from it.
That is a long time coming. It's been a while since Blacklist, I think.
We know we're getting a new Prince of Persia game, but that's more of on a lower scale, right? Still like a side-scrolling.
Well, we're getting the side-scrolling one and the remake of Sands of Time is back in the hopper, but that's going to take.
Well, there's a remake of Sands of Time, and I mean, I don't even know if that's ever going to come out. To be honest,
I guarantee it's going to come out, but they basically are, I think, redoing a lot of it because, it did not look good when they showed it.
But I think if they had Immortals Phoenix Rising, if they made one that was like with an excellent story, they could have had another franchise on their hands. Mm-hmm. Right, and to put this on the back burner. I mean, then we got Beyond Good and Evil, right?
I was just gonna say we saw that one like 2018, 2019. Where the hell's that been?
I know, but that's no pun intended. Beyond, right? The Duke Nukem and the Doom games that were delayed for like so long.
Right.
That's now like the longest game in development, the second game in the series.
Yeah.
And the guy who invented, the guy who met, who was the head of the game, retired in 2020. Right.
Michael Ansel, I think he was.
I think so.
Yeah. Yves Guillemot is still there. I'm butchering it.
So
sorry, but
it's okay. But this is
Dan does it every episode. He's like, it's fine.
It's fine. It's fine. I get names wrong all the time. I get names wrong. Listen, I can tell you, if you're new to the show, just so you know, I know we had dinner at this place, had a great burger, had great tacos, had a great steak, and they had a red awning outside. But the name escapes me because I butcher people's names. I butcher names in general. I'm not good with names. So Dave being bad at names makes me feel good because I terrible at names. Unless your name is Jonna, Amy, or Sarah, or David. Terrible.
There you go. Well, listen. I'm happy.
And I'm bad at ages too, because Dave is like 64.
I am actually 65. My birthday is coming up in 2 days. Come on, Dan. I'm just happy that Dan butchers names and doesn't butcher people. People's names is okay, but butchering people, no.
Well, you know what? I'm not a bear that's hungry, coming out of hibernation to bring everything.
There you go. And you know what? Us and the fans are thankful for that.
Thank you. But Breast of the Wild is still something that Dave said, not me.
You still go back to the tapes, man. I'll tell you. That was one of our best episodes. Wow, that was like all the way back in 2016, 17. Yeah.
I know, Breast of the Wild. That was a Dave thing, not me.
I want to say episode 47, maybe 45.
But I am sad. R.I.P. to Phoenix, Immortal Phoenix Rising. Hopefully, we will get that sequel, and
hopefully the Phoenix will rise from the ashes.
There we go.
Right? It's
Phoenix with an F, not a P.
Yes.
But it's Phoenix with an F, not a P.
Well, it means just a different spelling, I think.
All right. Last story, not a lot of stories this week. There was an odd Super Mario reference discovered in a mid-1990s insurance ad, and it refers to Super Mario World, not 3, the best Super Mario game of all time, which is World. The ad apparently, this comes from Games Rant. The ad apparently ran sometime between 96 and 98 in a newspaper in New Mexico. The premise of the pitch is a homeowner's insurance will give people peace of mind and free them to do anything that they enjoy, specifically mentioned as possible fun activities using the internet and playing the Super Nintendo Super Mario World to defeat Lemmy Cooper. So...
What?
It was an insurance ad. It was actually an insurance ad that they used, and they specifically mentioned Lemmy Cooper from Super Mario World, the video game. And it mentioned essentially conquer Lemmy Cooper Castle in the Super Nintendo. Basically, you don't have to worry about home insurance, right? Because we got you while you have more time to enjoy playing the best game ever made, Super Mario World, and defeat Lemmy Cooper in the castle in Super Nintendo, because we got you back when it comes to home insurance. And Dave, we're both homeowners, we know how much home insurance costs.
That's
because
right.
we pay it every month, a part of our mortgage. So because this insurance company, funny enough, I do deal with Allstate. I don't know if you know Allstate commercials. That is my home, my home insurance. Allstate has my back to deal with homeowners insurance and gives me more time to deal with the Koopas and Super Nintendo and Super Mario World.
It's one of the priorities, when we're looking for homeowner insurance, like we have to know, do you have my back when I want to play Super Mario World?
Yeah.
I have so many questions, Dan, but
What?
I don't know. I don't know where to start.
The number one question Dave has is why didn't they use Super Mario Bros. 3? It's because they know better. They know why. They know they can't use the second best Mario game of all time. They had to use the first. They had to use Super Mario World.
Why not? Why not? If you're going to even go that route, like, what? Okay, I got to get some question out. Why? This was 1990, between 96 and 98. Why not use, if you're going to even go this... I was in junior
high school. No, I was in high school. At this time.
If you're going to even go this route, why not use a more modern game for the time? This was a 5 to 6 year old game. Why not do, I don't know, I think Resident Evil would have been out possibly about this time. If you want to say like 96 proper, I don't know, maybe like Duke Nukem or like Doom is even more modern. I don't know.
I can tell you, I got answers for you if you want.
Why?
If you're ready to listen.
Super Mario World is the greatest game of all time.
It's the greatest game of all time, baby. They had to use the GOAT. Yeah, Dave, we're in. What year is this, Dave?
I don't know. 2023.
2023.
Is that your watch?
2023. It's 20.
That's an odd watch.
It's 2023, right? Because last time I checked, the best-selling sneaker still to this day is the Jordans, and Jordan retired in 2023.
Well, wait a minute.
So he retired 20 years ago.
Wait a minute.
And they're still using Jordan as the GOAT when it comes to sneakers. So back then, they were using the GOAT of video games, Super Mario World.
Well, that's not fair, because they put out new Jordans every year. They put out new models of the Jordan.
They put out the same
established franchise.
They put out the same. No. Well, you could tell Dave's not a sneakerhead. They put out the retro Jordans of the 90s and early 2000s.
Okay, they re-released it. But they re-released it. Yeah.
They re-released old models of the Jordans right now, and that's what's the most. It's still popular to this day. So back then, the insurance company knew they had to use the GOAT of video games. They didn't use Super Mario 64.
Okay.
They didn't use Doom. They didn't use Resident Evil. They didn't use Duke Nukem. They didn't use Super Mario 3. They used Super Mario World, the GOAT of video games.
Okay. I will grant you that. It definitely had, Mario was becoming, if not already,
still iconic.
The most recognized mascot of all time, like almost usurping Mickey. That certainly has happened now.
Mickey Mouse in the 90s usurped Mickey. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll grant you all of that. What I won't get behind and don't think that they necessarily thought about is that gaming was only a few generations old. We were barely in the 6th generation. Our parents at the time would be the ones buying those houses, or people that were a bit younger than our parents would be buying houses. Guaranteed, maybe they played Atari a little bit, maybe a little Nintendo, but it's not the same as it is now, where
the parents knew what the GOAT of video games would be. It wouldn't be Defender.
Yeah, but you think it's gonna resonate with homeowners? You think that's really gonna hit with homeowners? No.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, you know what? No. I brought my kid a Super Nintendo. My kid knows Super Mario World is the best game.
Who's buying the house? You or your kid? You were buying the house. You want to appeal?
Well, you know what? I'm buying the kid.
Your audience.
I'm buying the house. I'm buying the kid. I'm buying the Super Nintendo. I'm buying everything. Everything's bought.
Jesus.
They knew.
It's just weird.
They knew. They knew that go-to video games was Super Mario World. I got you. I did it.
Funny. I
did it. They did it. They know Super Mario World, baby.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So that's it for stories, Dave. I had to end with this.
That's honestly one of the wildest and best stories I've heard in a long time. So,
and this is And this is I call it the Ryan Reynolds Insurance Company, but it's just Reynolds Insurance.
Oh,
Company.
okay.
I don't even know if it still exists, but it makes sense that it's the Reynolds Insurance Company.
Okay.
From New Mexico, by the way. All right. So Dave, you got any good weekend plans coming up?
I gotta finish up WrestleQuest for the review, man. I'm deep in it, and
okay.
So far I'm having a good time. I can say that. I can't really get into the particulars on it, but yeah, very excited. So how about you?
Yeah, I can't do it like Patrick.
Very nice.
Ooh, yeah. Okay, brother.
The cream.
If you smell
To the top.
what the rated G is cooking, and he's not even in the game, by the way. I don't think he's in the game. I
can't say
maybe,
one way
maybe
or the
not.
other.
I haven't played it.
If The Rock is in the game, but they do have. I mean, and they've certainly said they got a lot of licensed personalities and talent, and oh my God, it's fantastic. You're gonna love it. Dave.
I'm gonna get into some Disney Illusion Island. Maybe I'll get back into Tears in the Kingdom.
Okay.
I mean, since I beat Final Fantasy 16.
You need
a lot of time on my hands. Maybe AEW, right? Armored Core isn't coming out until the end of August, so I need something to play in the beginning of August. So we'll see.
Okay. All right. Good deal. Well, I think that about does it, folks. That is episode 371 in the books. And we want to thank you guys for listening to the show, for liking, commenting, doing all the good stuff that you guys do. If you want to interact with us, and we know that you do, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Threads at Rated G for Gamers. So, please listen, like, rate, review, and subscribe. And as always,
keep gaming.